Kent Myers. I'm Mick Cornett, and it's time for the verdict.
As a part of its traditional and continuing commitment to public and community service, Crowe and Dunleavy Law Firm presents The Verdict, an objective discussion of contemporary legal issues hosted by Kent Myers. And also brought to you by a friend of Oklahoma Lawyers for Children and Delta Dental Plan of Oklahoma. And welcome to The Verdict. I'm Mick Cornett. Happy Mother's Day. And appropriately, our show title this week is Women in the Law. Let me introduce one of Oklahoma's top legal experts and my co-host, Kent Myers. A very appropriate topic today.
It is, and happy Mother's Day to all of our mothers out there that are viewing. Women in the law is coming back into discussion a lot now because of a recent New York Times article that has predicted that in this fall, for the first time in the history of this country, more women will be entering law school as freshmen than men. There will be over 50% women entrants as new law students this year, more women than men, and that is a development that has been coming for some time now, but just past the halfway part.
In the past 50 years, though, it's come dramatic.
It's come dramatically, yeah. Very little progress was made. Actually, in the past 30 years, it's come dramatically. That raises a lot of questions that we want to talk about today. Is there a double standard for women? Are they treated differently? Are they discriminated against? Is there discrimination in favor of them in certain areas? Do they make good lawyers? Is there a glass ceiling for them? Can they progress only so far and then they're stifled in their development? We've got some guests today that will talk about that. I want to bring up a graphic, though, right now to bring up a subject that I hope they'll address directly. Raoul Felder, a celebrity divorce lawyer, says that women make great judges and lousy lawyers because they're sensitive, patient, and incorruptible. Well, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but these two guests we have today will be able to enlighten us on that subject.
I look forward to it. It's an interesting topic, women in the law, and it should be a lively discussion right here on The Verdict.
I enrich our cultural landscape.
I help define our quality of life.
I am one of 4,000 artists in central Oklahoma who receive
support from Allied Arts, this community's united arts organization.
I am an allied artist.
All children deserve a life of hope and love. But sometimes they experience a life of pain, neglect, and abuse.
When that happens, each child deserves all of the quality assistance and representation that can be offered in our legal system. Oklahoma Lawyers for Children has over 350 of the best attorneys and volunteers in Oklahoma County who donate their time and services to represent children. For more information, call 405-23-CHILD.
Oklahoma Lawyers for Children, helping to bring hope and love back to the lives of abused children.
And welcome back to The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers, and we're ready to discuss the issue of women in the legal profession. And Kent, why don't you introduce our guests?
We've got two of the best with us today. On my left is the Honorable Robin Cauthron, United States District Judge for the Western District of Oklahoma. Judge Cauthron is the daughter of Mary Louise Johnson and the mother of Paige, Matt, Adam, and Megan, and that's perfectly permissible. You can do that, and if I stop you, I'm in contempt. I understand about that. To my right is my partner, Brooke Murphy, from the firm of Crow and Dunleavy. Brooke is the daughter of Natalie Smith and the mother of Stephen and Matt. Glad to have you, Brooke.
Thank you, Ken.
I want to take just a little bit longer on the introductions because I think it's important. Judge Cauthron graduated from the University of Oklahoma with a BA degree, has a master's in education from the University of Central Oklahoma, and received her Juris Doctor degree in 1977 from the University of Oklahoma and was in the top 10% of her class. She was, in 1991, named as the first woman in Oklahoma to be a United States District Judge by the first President Bush, and has served a decade on the federal bench. Brooke Murphy graduated from the University of Oklahoma, Phi Beta Kappa. Undergraduate, graduated from the University of Wisconsin Law School in 1975, magna cum laude, and then, of course, in the top 10% of her class as well. She has practiced litigation law, trial work, since joining the firm, and has been a shareholder and director at Crow and Dunleavy since 1981, approximately 20 years. These two women know about what it means to be a woman in the law at a time when there were a lot fewer than there are today. Now let me start right out with my first graphic. I want Judge Cauthron to take a look at this, and in a second I'll ask her to make a comment about it. But in 1977, her year of graduation, only 20% of the graduates were women. This last year, 43% of the graduates from OU were women, law school. Now let's change to the next graphic and look at Brooke Murphy's law school, the University of Wisconsin. In her year of graduation, 15% were women. This last year, 45% were women. Judge Cauthron, does this increase surprise you?
It doesn't surprise me in the least, and while I am not a sociologist and don't want to state generalities that can't be supported, it seems to me that when I went to college and law school, most women of my age intended to get married, have children, find Prince Charming first, I guess, before they did the other two. But I don't think most women intended to spend their lives in the workforce. Today, I think most women do. And I think just like men, they are looking for challenging and interesting careers. And law school is, or the field of the law is challenging and interesting to many people, men and women. And I'm certainly not surprised that the mix is pretty equal these days. Well, does it surprise you that the women this coming fall will outnumber the men? No. And why is that? Well, again, I hate to generalize, but I think women, I think little girls in grade school do better at reading and score better on tests. I think that's been shown. And I think college students would reflect the same kind of abilities. I think women score better on the LSAT. They read and comprehend better, which is a skill that's absolutely necessary for law school, and it makes sense as competitive as law schools are these days that women are probably scoring better on the tests and making better grade points and therefore getting the places. Brooke, let me ask you, this first graphic we had, you're a woman lawyer and a woman trial lawyer, and a very good one, I might add, as biased as I may be. What do you think about this, that women make great judges? Judge Cauthron proves that. Women are lousy lawyers. You disprove that. But what do you think women lawyers are generally more sensitive, patient, and incorruptible?
There's so much to be said about this quote, I don't quite know where to begin. I love the first part, women make great judges. But then it goes off from there. And I think one of the problems with the quote is it does that that thing that we're all very susceptible to, it's stereotypes. Women are sensitive, patient, and incorruptible. Are they? Are all women sensitive, patient, and incorruptible? I grant you that we grow up thinking that at least little girls are more sensitive. I don't know about patient. I'm not willing to venture on that one. And there seems to be some bit of a reputation that women are more incorruptible. But what I think maybe the main thing our society needs to remember, and all of us need to remember, is we're all people. Women are people. Men are people. Some of us are sensitive. Some of us are patient, and some of us are incorruptible. I think this stereotype, though, is good in the sense that it says a sensitive, patient, and incorruptible person will make a great judge. I disagree with it wholly when it says that lawyers are lousy if they're not incorruptible. I think also this is one of the stereotypes. A sensitive lawyer can't be a good lawyer. A woman lawyer can't be a good lawyer, maybe because she's not tough enough or something. I think that's totally untrue. I think the more sensitive you are in the courtroom and with your witnesses and with the jury, the better lawyer you are.
Well, I think there's another idea I want to throw out to you, Judge Cauthron, real quickly in the time we have available for this first segment. Law schools are getting more competitive. It's harder to get in, and women are just now approaching the 50% mark, but they are routinely higher finishing in the class than men. They're doing better in law school than men. Does that surprise you?
No, for the same reasons I said before. I think the academic excellence that may be demonstrated by a law student does not necessarily measure how good a lawyer that student will be out in the practice of law.
Now, law school is competitive. Women are able to compete.
Yes.
They're not holding back in any way. They're beating the men on their own turf, if you will,
yes,
or what previously had been thought of as their own turf.
I can only observe that what makes a good student doesn't necessarily make a good lawyer. I think you've observed that as well. The skills that you use in the courtroom are very seldom gained from books. It's something that is natural to some, it is learned in others, and some people never get it. But by the same token, what skills we look for in a good lawyer are very seldom the skills that you look for in a good judge. And while this quote may overstate it, I think there is a germ of truth in the patient, sensitive, and incorruptible description. I've heard it said more than once that we take the best lawyers and reward them with judgeships. And very often the best lawyers make the worst judges because they are aggressive and hard-fighting, and they think quickly on their feet, and they're really hams. You all know that.
I can't imagine.
Let me put a halt to it right here. Hold that thought. We got to interrupt and go to a short break. We're discussing women in the law. What's your verdict?
In a 1940 survey, teachers considered the 3 worst school problems to be talking in class, tardiness, and chewing gum. In a 1990 survey, the 3 they picked were drugs, rape, and murder. Now more than ever, kids need self-reliance, a series of courses from Campfire that teach kids the only place to stand is on their own 2 feet. The first fire we light is the fire within. Campfire, boys and girls.
St. Gregory's University has been changing the lives of people like me for 125 years. Affordable, private Catholic education, balanced with dedication to community and service, makes St. Gregory special. We're extremely proud of our students' outstanding academic achievements and our nationally ranked athletic teams. It's when you help a student build a future of balance, integrity, and service that you change a life forever. St. Gregory's, a community for life.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation under God, indivisible, with
liberty and justice for all.
Every day Americans make this pledge, but few think about its significance. It's our job to make justice a reality by providing legal representation for all citizens. Legal services. keeping the promise of America.
Every day, in state governments throughout the country, crucial decisions are being made that affect the lives of children and their families. But as this process takes place, children are often left voiceless. When these children raise their hands to be heard, is anyone listening? There are people listening. They are child advocates. Join us and raise your hand for kids.
We're discussing women in the law. Welcome back to The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers. Kent, when I was doing the preparation for this show, I was trying to draw on some personal experiences. And I thought back to my times in the courtroom, just 2 or 3 times as a journalist, and I had never seen a woman attorney in person. I've never seen a woman judge. And I thought, you know, really what I think of is what I've seen from Hollywood. And so, Brooke, I wanted to start with you. How are women attorneys portrayed, in your opinion, by Hollywood in television and the movies, and how accurate is it?
Well, Mick, I hate to disappoint you, but first of all, I don't really watch much of the movies or TV on law shows. I guess it's just too close to home or too close to the office. What I have seen, though, indicates to me that they're portrayed very inaccurately, both women and men, but just dealing with women as lawyers. Every show I've seen, the woman has been having no role. And that's because perhaps I don't watch Ally McBeal. But the ones I've seen, the women have no role. They're just sitting there as a helpmate to the trial. And that, of course, used to be the case. Back in 1975 to 1980, that probably was accurate, but I don't think it's accurate today.
Judge Cauthron, what about the way judges are portrayed?
Well, and I, too, don't watch legal shows on television except Ally McBeal, which I enjoy because it has no relationship to reality, and nobody could ever expect that to really happen. But I think the entertainment media does the legal system an injustice because regardless of the gender depictions, we get jurors in every month who are surprised that trials actually take longer than an hour to conclude. And occasionally get boring and drag on. And, you know, on television, it's all wrapped up in 30 minutes or an hour. That's my biggest complaint about the media. I think, as Brooke said, both women and men are depicted unfairly because it's entertaining. If they were all ethical and moral, I don't know if anyone would watch the show.
Well, let me ask you a question. We hear about the glass ceiling. We hear that women cannot achieve equality in the law as well as other places. And I want to put a graphic up now and ask what each of you think about it. Joan Williams, a professor of law at American University in Washington, has said, in the law as elsewhere, women won't achieve equality until mothers do. And mothers won't achieve equality until we change the way we define the ideal worker to make it consistent with our ideals of nurturance. Judge Cauthron, what do you think about that?
I think it's true. And I think to give us credit as a society, there are many men now who are as concerned with giving care to children and parents as many more than before. I have lived through that. I know Brooke has as well. It's a choice that any mother must make somewhere along the way in her career. The Boston Bar Association has recently completed a fascinating study on what they call work balance issues and what's happening to the legal profession as a whole because of the emphasis on billable hours and being at work. And they find that 43% of the associates leave their firm within the first 3 years. That is both men and women.
Associates meaning the young lawyers.
The young lawyers, yes. In the first 3 years of association with a firm, 43% will leave. And of course, it's higher for women. But I think men are now as interested in finding a balance in their lives as women have consistently been. And I think the legal profession is going to have to change as a result of it. To measure worth in some way other than hours spent on the job.
Your comments, Brooke.
Kent, my comment is primarily that I don't think that this is ever going to happen, because I don't think the person who's the primary caregiver will ever be granted by the working society the leeway that is needed to really achieve true equality. I think it's going to be a matter of degree and a matter of place on the continuum of success. For example, I think it's going to be a rare case when we will ever have a chief executive officer who is the primary caregiver who hasn't made tremendous personal sacrifice and worked thousands of hours and missed thousands of t-ball and baseball games, man or woman. And I don't know that society will ever allow their chief executive officers or their presidents or their primary leaders to have anything but that goal, whatever it is, in mind. Whereas I think at another level of society, perhaps the associates at the law firm, the main people who are out there in the world, I think it is an achievable goal, and I think we're moving in that direction. As Judge Cauthron says, now men and women both, and I know my sons and men at my firm that I know are very much concerned about the nurturing and caregiving.
Well, we got just about, a minute and 20 seconds left in this segment. I'd like to give each of you an opportunity to say a few words about the subject here, women in law. Judge Cauthron, why don't you go first?
I think I want to thank the legal profession for the opportunities I've been given. I have never felt discriminated against. I have had some ugly things said to me a time or two, and I'm sure those days aren't over. But I think that anyone can succeed in the law who's willing to work hard, and I don't think it matters if you're a man or a woman. You have to be willing to work hard, and you can excel.
Would you encourage your daughters to be lawyers?
No.
Why?
It's not, I have discouraged all of my children from being a lawyer because I think we have too many lawyers.
That's a good start. Brooke?
Well, I would echo what Judge Cauthron has said. I would say in connection with the law that it's a fascinating profession. Every day is new. Every case that you handle involves new kinds of people, new kinds of businesses, and new issues. And for that reason, if nothing else, I would encourage young girls and young men to consider the law. It's a very hard profession, too. It takes time, it takes sacrifice, it's stressful, especially in the litigation practice that we're mainly talking about here today, because you're fighting with other people. But it's been very good to me. I've been with Kent's firm. In fact, Kent is the person at the firm who called and made me the job offer. He may not remember that. But I've been with that one firm for 25 years and have had a wonderful experience with all the lawyers, men and women.
Ms. Murphy, thank you. Judge Cauthron, thank you for coming. We got to wrap it up there. Kent and I'll be back after this. You're watching The Verdict.
In Oklahoma, there are more than 1,600 children waiting to be adopted. They're of all ages, and for many, home has been a source of pain and conflict. They've dreamed of finding a better life and a loving family. Consider adoption. For more information, call 1-877-OK-SWIFT or visit the website www.okdhs.org. Adopt. It may be the toughest job you'll ever love.
Bringing out the best in each student. That is the simple goal and tradition of Heritage Hall. The focus on the individual shapes the educational experience at Heritage Hall. Each student benefits from small classes, able, dedicated teachers, a solid academic curriculum, and exceptional co-curricular programs of athletics, arts, community service, and other activities, parental involvement, personalized counseling, and the development of responsibility, integrity, and love of learning. If you want education taught with pride, then you want Heritage Hall.
And we're back. Our subject today was women in the law. Kent, how do we want to wrap this one up?
Well, I want to wrap it up in the nicest way possible to say Happy Mother's Day to Georgia Graves of Harrison, Arkansas. She is my mother-in-law, and just pleased to death that she is, and she's very sweet. Let's take a look at a graphic I've got of the national symbol of justice. I want to point out 2 or 3 things. First of all, there's a blindfold over the eyes, symbolizing that justice is blind. Second, there is a sword symbolizing that the justice giver can also enforce it as necessary according to the equal scales of the justice, scales of justice that are shown there. But finally, and perhaps today more importantly, I hope the world will note and our viewers will note that Lady Justice is just that. She's a woman. And she is dispensing justice as our symbol of equality in this country. You know, Mick, within the next 15 years, we'll see well over 50% of our judges being lawyers, or our judges being women, our lawyers being women, and I wonder what that will do to lawyer joke. I wonder if they'll be kinder, gentler, more civil. Unlikely, but possible. I've practiced law a long time, and I've seen a lot of men lawyers and a lot of women lawyers. I've seen a lot of marginal men lawyers. I have never seen even a marginal woman lawyer. They've all been good. The women are doing well in this profession. Whether we'll allow them to rise to where they should be or not is another question.
We're going to wrap it up there. Kent, good job as always. Special Mother's Day wishes to my wife, my mother, and my mother-in-law. I'm Mick Cornett. For Kent Myers, we'll see you next time on The Verdict. This program was brought to you by Crowe & Dunlevy, a professional corporation. And also brought to you by a friend of Oklahoma Lawyers for Children and Delta Dental Plan of Oklahoma.